Welcome back, Fumans, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about reclusion.
Reclusion.
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
When you go back into your crab shell.
Yes. So when...
Not that I have a crab shell.
I mean, most humans have an energetic crab shell.
I mean, I don't have an actual physical one, though.
Let me check.
It's crusty back there, girl.
She good. So we're talking about this topic because I've actually noticed this with a bunch of friends.
Yes.
And they tend to come out and in of the shell, which is completely normal. But sometimes it's a form of self-punishment or self-sabotage. So they're not happy with themselves at that point. So what the person does is goes and punishes themselves by isolating themselves from the group, which is more self-punishment. So you're already feeling down. The best thing is to be around people that can love and support you, but instead you would do the opposite behavior and recluse and isolate yourself from the group. And that to me is a form of punishment.
Yeah.
And I know this because during my functional depression in 2015, I went through that. I recluded for 6 months. I isolated myself from everything I loved. And I didn't know that it was depression back then. I just felt like I'm tired and I'm not in the mood for anybody or anything, and I'm drained and exhausted. That by itself was a form of me already being down and beating myself a little bit more, because if you're naturally a person who goes out and is
Social
around
butterfly.
people, exactly, when you disconnect that, that's one sign that you know that you're about to self-punish. Have you gone through it?
Wait, let me ask you.
Okay.
When you were in, because 6 months is a long time, right?
A long time, yeah.
Did you know that it was depression at the time?
I had absolutely no clue. I just thought I was grieving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really didn't know. I only knew about 6 months after that when I got out of
So
it.
6 months after the 6 months?
Yeah.
So almost a year in.
Nearly a year, I understood that what I went through, because I had functional depression. Functional depression is you operate. You get up, you go to work, you put a fake smile, you get your job done or the basic requirements. You're not inspired to do anything else. And then you might have the hi, hello conversation with here and there, check in on text with a friend here and there. And then you go, you sit on your bed and you sleep and you do absolutely nothing until the next day and just repeat it. So that's why I say it's functional, because you're functioning. You're doing your basic requirements of life. A lot of the times when people are chronically depressed, what TV shows you is that they're in bed and
it's a dark room, they don't want to leave, they won't see anyone. Like, that's the way that depression is usually displayed.
And that is chronic depression.
Yeah.
It does exist to that extent. But actually 80% of the world might have functioning depression and they're not even aware of it, because you're functioning. And you just start to feel like this is how life should be.
It's almost like when you explain that, I automatically think it's like robot mode.
Yes.
Like, you're literally just functioning at the most basic level. You're not really enjoying what you're doing, but you're just doing it because you don't know what else to do.
100 spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now when you go into your spiritual journey and you start to heal and get into your conscious behavior, this reduces, obviously, and you now no longer get functioning depression for months. You'll get it for a few weeks, you know, and I call it in spirituality limbo, like time in limbo.
Oh, if you've done any spirituality work, shout out to you in limbo land, because I got to limbo land.
Yeah, and limbo is actually it's sort of like functional depression, but you're so aware of it that it is consuming every moment of your time.
Yeah, I had this bad last year.
We had a podcast about that. We spoke about it.
We did.
Because we both kind of entered spiritual limbo around the same time, and you know, we got out of it, thankfully.
It was a funk. Like,
it is funky.
It is a really bad funk. Like, some of my thoughts were messed up, like really messed up.
Yeah, and if you don't know what spiritual limbo is, you have a divine purpose about to happen. There's going to be a shift and change in your life. You just arrived at the finish line.
I'm so happy that I've gone through it. Sorry, I've just realized now. I'm like, oh my god, it was limbo. I thought it was just like now you're saying limbo. I'm like, why didn't I know this?
Yeah, you should have just listened to our podcast from last year.
And this is why you should listen.
So what spiritual limbo is that you are about to experience a big shift or a major change in your life. And imagine that this being the finish line, the change is the finish line or the start line, whichever way you want to look at it. And you reach to the start line of this marathon 3 weeks before the marathon starts. So what you gotta do is wait. And you're like in that waiting mode and you don't know what to do. But
come on.
But you're early. And because you are early, you start to feel frustrated, irritated, confused, like what's my purpose in life, self-loathing. And what it does is it shows you all the inner stuff that you need to work on before you hit the start line.
I feel stressed thinking about it. Like I feel going back to this place because this happened to me, honestly. So it was just after my birthday, so end of October, beginning of November. So it's a good 3 weeks this went on for. And I remember we had like a few messages and then you were like, hey, look, I know something's going on. I don't know what it is, but like, I'm holding space for you. So when you need to talk, I'm here. I'm good. But in my mind, wow, it was nuts. It was nuts. I don't even actually want to feel like I want to go back there.
No, you don't want to. You passed. You
and now I'm like, woo! I'm so happy I went through
Welcome to the other side. So,
but I will say I'm grateful I went through it.
Yeah, and by the way, that's not the only time you're going to go through it. Because
I can't do it again. No,
you can.
Of course I can. You can do it once, you can do it again.
Because now you're in like this level and then you're going to be ready to go to that level. And in that level, there's going to be that time if you arrive early. So arrive on time.
You know, this is what divine timing.
Yes, arrive on time.
Arrive on time. We know that's a bit of an issue for me. But
yeah, she's always late. So I don't know how she went into limbo. So she's always late.
The universe was teaching me, you know. How would you describe divine timing? Because I feel like we mention it a lot, but maybe people don't necessarily, if you're not in that spiritual phase yet.
All right, well, break it down. Like, I don't like to complicate spiritual thing. Divine timing is a moment of your life where you have already kind of agreed as a soul that a specific thing must happen at this time in order to elevate your consciousness. The whole thing about our souls is we are on this earth, irrespective of why you think you're on earth, is to improve and elevate the consciousness of humanity. That is our sole purpose. Whether you're going to do it through music, through dance, through a podcast, through healing, whatever it is, our main purpose is to come onto this earth and elevate humanity. So part of elevating humanity means elevating your own consciousness. And that's actually your goal. You don't have to influence anybody except yourself, because when you change yourself, you change others, energetically everybody around you. So divine timing divine timing is a moment of time where your consciousness is going to elevate, or something is going to happen for you to fulfill this purpose, whether it's a small thing or a big thing. So, and most of us have multiple divine timings. So mind hacking is definitely one of my divine timings. It's a phase of my life where I am elevating consciousness. Before that, when I was in the corporate world, definitely that was part of my divine timing, because it made me realize that was not my path. So otherwise I would have always been stuck there. So every single part of our life,
we wouldn't have this beautiful butterfly now.
Exactly. For that, right? So that's what divine timing is.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to reclusion now. So, because I'm sure there will be people that can relate to this, right?
100%.
We've all had these little, like, I call it a hermit crab, because it feels a bit like it, right? Like you come out, and now you're suddenly coming back again.
I'm gonna tell you something funny that happened last night. Bridget was trying to speak to me, and I said to her, Bridget.
What? She's trying to speak to me?
Yeah, she's like, it was late at night, and she was like trying to speak to me. But I was so tired. And she's speaking to me, and I'm not understanding. Like, I'm not understanding, and I'm getting irritated.
Okay.
And it's not because of Bridget, it's because I'm tired.
But you were not understanding what she was saying, or the context? Okay.
I was not I didn't understand. And I started inside my head to say things like, I don't like humans, right? And that's when my soul is frustrated with me. Like, I was like, I don't like humans. Humans need to be quiet, you know? And I was like, you know, like you witness your own thoughts. And then it's like, I just need to be alone. And I was like, oh my God, my poor soul is so tired. I've been on the computer for 6 hours working on my website, it's done with me. It's not done with, it's done with me. It just needs rest. So I was just like, okay, so we're not gonna recluse and go like, okay, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone. This is me being aware that I am tired, and what I need to go is just get my ass into bed. And I was like, Bridget, I'd love to have a conversation with you right now, but I am super tired. I'm gonna rest my bones, and we'll have this conversation tomorrow. Like, I'm sorry, it's me, right? And I think this is one of the biggest awarenesses that you can have, is when you're tired, to realize you're tired. People go like, you know a person when they're angry. You know a person when they're tired.
Cranky AF.
Yeah.
I am the worst person when I am tired. Like, sleep and me are best friends. I cannot be tired. It's a no for me.
And that's when your shadow self kind of comes out, is when you're tired.
Demon side.
You know, and it's when you're tired. And if you're able to handle that situation,
and still be kind.
Yes, and with compassion to yourself, you know, because it's easy to be like, oh, I don't like everybody, but you know, just being aware of this voice and going, okay, little baby, you just want to sleep right now, right? And take yourself to bed.
Do you speak to yourself like a baby?
Sometimes I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
I give my, you know, a lot of people think it's tough love with the shadow and the psychopath.
You have to be kind.
I treat them all like little babies, like little child. Little baby. I'm like, okay, you tired? Okay, we go to Mimi's right now. Bedtime.
I'm gonna put myself to bed like that.
Yeah, I think you should. So when you're able to do that with yourself, that's already avoiding the reclusion. Because if we got into it, then, you know, she would be hurt, I would be offended. You know,
and it's going to bed as well. I don't know how you feel, you know, when you go to bed and something bad has happened, like your mind is
exactly.
Like
and then I wake up in the morning and, you know, you're going to put your ego on and you're not going to talk to that person, and then you're going to recluse and all that kind of bullshit. That's all awareness. Minute that I was aware of that situation, is I noticed it was me. I noticed how like I was tired. So when people are about to recluse, one of the most important things to do is gonna go, why am I now doing this? Why am I isolating myself from people? What are the thoughts that are going through my mind? You've reclused. How was that experience?
Hideous. It was absolutely hideous, because I am a social butterfly. That is my literal definition. I love being around people. I love the energy of people. Yeah, it was not cool at all. Like, I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to do anything. Like, I kind of get up in the morning, and when I think back to that person now, what is it, 5-6 months ago now? Like, whole different mental. I can't even think about that place because it just wasn't me at all.
Why did you recluse?
I think I was in a funny point in my life. Like, I wasn't working full-time anymore. I was doing my own thing, but wasn't really sure if I was on the right path. It was, for me, mainly it was purpose. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I'm kind of done with this. Like, all those kind of mental soul thoughts. If you've ever had those before, you get it. Like, just genuinely, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, constantly. And it was, you know how much, Sage, how many thoughts you have on a daily basis, and it just kept repeating the same thing every single day. And this is when we talked about it on our podcast before with the fitness thing, that's why it was so important for me, because I know that my fitness and my mental health are very much aligned. So once I had those two things married together, it was good. So
you got out of it.
I got out.
So here's a challenge for everybody.
Yes.
What you need to do when you're feeling like you need to recluse is ask yourself, is it a form of self-punishment, or are you doing this out of self-love? And most likely, it will be the first.
Woo! I'm loving this 14-minute business.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be, right?
Yeah.
Yes, girl. Yes!